What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unfiltered and welcome back to Real Talk. It's been a minute. The international break is on. Ruben Amorim has been in for a year now. A year of tough lessons, bold decisions, dressing room battles, and tactical reshaping, and the slow grind of rebuilding standards. But tonight we're going to get into the truth. So, with Laurie Whitwell put an article out this morning, basically looking into the year of Ruben Amorim. We're going to touch on some stuff in there, get the lads' thoughts. Are the players buying into the system finally? Is it working? Are we at the start of something? Or are we just in another chapter of United's long, inevitable rebuild cycle? So, yeah, let's touch on it. Chivi, first of all, how are you? And, yeah, a year of Amorim, it feels a lot less, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, things happen really quickly in football. And even though a year is not that long, it does feel ages. Like if
In
it's like
football,
10
it
hours.
is, isn't it? In football,
Yeah,
it's
in
a
football,
long time.
it's like dog years for dogs and stuff. Like
Yeah. Times 7.
yeah, it's that type of stuff. So yeah, a lot has happened. Not too much to smile about. A whole lot of disappointments. Like
Yes.
if you take all the disappointments we felt under Moyes, under Van Gaal, under Ragnick, it's like putting that all into one.
Yes.
Because then there was always like we always ended it. The season would, apart from one season, it would always end with like there was a silver lining. You know, with Jose, we made Europa League. We won them stupid trophies with Van Gaal. We won the FA Cup. I know Moyes would finish sixth, so that wasn't, even with Ten Hag, like the first, the way they season. We came third. The other time when we came eighth, we still got a trophy. So there was always something. But this time was like we got so close and there was just nothing. And the way it ended was just so bad. So, and then I appreciate that it's a new season now, and I've tried to look at it differently. Like I look at it like the season has started. It's a clean slate.
Yeah.
Let's go on. And some people still compile everything together. That's up to them. But then, yeah, it's not been plain sailing. But yeah, so far this season, I don't know. I still don't know what to make of it. But yeah, I'll hear what Shreyas thought.
Yeah, we'll get into it. Shreyas, yeah, you're a younger fan than me and Chivy. We've been there, seen it. We've done it all. As United like to sing, we've won the lot. We've seen it. You haven't seen it. I'm interested to think. Like, obviously, it was in my eyes, and I'm sure Chivy's eyes. Last season was our worst season I've ever watched United. I've never seen anything worse, and we've watched some shit. I'm interested to see how you feel because you felt a lot of disappointment as a fan, unfortunately. How's the year been for you under Amorim? Like, how have you felt?
It has been very hard, I would say. The 2 Europa League finals that I have managed to stay awake for till like 6 a.m. in the morning, we've lost both of them. And the whole point is, if I talk about it in context of last season, everything was just focused on the Europa League. I think by the end of that season, and the way things were looking, like sometimes, with performances, you get a hold of how you're playing, and if you actually have a shot at, beating a team in a final. And every single game, it just reiterated the fact that, playing Spurs is, a hands down loss for us in that final. Before the final, we just knew that, the way we are playing and the way they are playing, it's not that, they are playing impressively, but the way they play, they are set up perfectly well to just, get a win against us. And when that final started, the same thing pretty much happened. You don't have enough creativity. You don't have enough attackers who can get on the ball and actually function the way the manager wants them to function. So it's just not going to work out for you. And even, the start of this season, as difficult of a start that, it was for us, it was a bit of a slow start, I would say. I think whenever we started to gain some momentum in those first few games, like the game against Brentford that happened, it just, completely sucked the entire morale out of the team as well as the fans. And now, even though, you're still at least able to go on a, unbeaten streak, we can still see the cracks that are still available in the team. And the moment you pick just one player out of this team, the entire system around it starts to crumble. Most importantly being the midfield. The moment you pick someone out, and I just want us to get to a point where, you at least have 13 to 14 reliable players, that even if you have to pick one or two players out, it's not as much of a quality drop that, the entire graph of the game completely changes. You're leading in games, sometimes even comfortably, and the other team is just able to walk through you every single time. And maybe in the January window we can address it, but these are, certain things that you need to look at, because you still got talented players on the bench. It's not that you've not got quality on the bench. It's just you don't know how to function with them in this squad.
Yeah. The first sort of point I wanted to touch on that I sort of grabbed from the article was Amorim has been not so much publicly. Well, there has been comments publicly actually. Like he has said he hated this team and it's the worst United team ever, but he's not singled individuals out as far as I know. However, behind the scenes, that's been very different, Chivy. He's called out Garnacho, who's gone, Rashford, who's gone, Ugarte apparently has also been called out, who's still at the club, but obviously his minutes have been absolutely chopped since the end of last season. I think the West Ham game in particular was the one that stood out. He's smashed the TV up after the Brighton loss last year. Obviously, the Grimsby loss happened as well, where he said, I hate this team. He's a very sort of passionate guy. Do you think call-out culture sort of strengthens the accountability of the players, or do you think it risks sort of isolating certain players and them feeling a bit targeted?
Yeah, I mean, players are different, right? So Alex Ferguson didn't have like a template for everyone. Like he related to people differently. I remember, I don't remember where I heard this, but like he would talk to certain players. He would talk to,
yeah,
and then certain players he would just he would kind of reason with, that your Cantonas, your Paul Scholes, like he would reason with them as far as it was football related, like on the pitch. Off the pitch antics, that was different. He had one way of dealing with all of that.
Yeah.
But as far as playing on the pitch, it was a lot different. Now, call-out culture, for some people respond differently to it and others don't. I've never really been a big fan of call-out culture. I would prefer everything to be done behind the scenes.
Behind those doors, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't like, and as far as I mean, in this, before I go on, I just need to say this, like, I have the utmost respect for the Athletic and the reporting that they do. I think in this climate of toxic fan channels and online, banter and all that kind of stuff, they're like the one people, they're the one entity that at the very least they have that football journalism to a T. Like they still keep it professional.
Yeah.
But I still do have a little, and I know they've come under criticism a few times, but the only thing that, as a United fan, just from a selfish perspective, I just don't like the fact that everything seems to come from them as far as all the backroom stuff that we hear. And they're a very, a lot of people watch them, a lot of people. So like, it's almost like our business is like on Front Street. I don't hear anything about City. I don't hear any, maybe it's because we're just a big club. I don't know. But I don't hear.
It sells subscriptions, doesn't it? It sells.
That's the thing, yeah. And so that's the only thing that I kind of, but I love their professionalism, and I've subscribed to the Athletic for years now. But then as far as back to call-out culture, and I only mentioned that because it's all out in the open. As far as the people they're calling out, I would respect Amorim's call-outs if he was across the board.
Yep.
We haven't heard him call out Dallo. We haven't. Rasmus Højlund was playing terrible. I never heard him call out, anything about him calling out Højlund. It was the fans, and it was clear to see.
Did he actions of the fact that he's gone in the summer? Does that speak to like how Amorim felt about him because he's gone?
I think I think that was also like an Ineos thing. I think it was an Ineos thing to get him gone. It might have also been Amorim, but it wasn't solely him.
Yeah.
And I think he called out Garnacho's gone. Called out Rashford's gone. I don't know if he called out the others, but like I never heard anything about Rasmus Højlund, that sort of stuff. So if it was consistent, then I would understand. But then it doesn't seem to be consistent. And as fans, and please feel free to disagree or chime in if you feel like. But as fans, I've noticed over the years we sort of have this thing where we create victims. Where we no, not victims. We create villains.
Oh yeah,
you know, it's
definitely.
always it's Jesse Lingard's fault. It's Paul Pogba, like the toxic guys. It's Martial. They've all gone. But we're still getting leaks. They have all gone. At one point, it was Harry Maguire who was leaking. We like to create villains within the squad and point the fingers. Oh, it's them, it's them. But then all those people have gone, and what's happened? So you get what I'm saying. So like, if the criticism was across the board, I would respect it a little bit more. But for now, I think it's just sometimes, I think it's just scapegoating. Sometimes,
Sure.
Yes, Garnacho needed to go. Rashford also needed, and these were like academy players. These were like our players, So yeah, I mean, when he starts calling out like everyone, bad performances from everyone, even when Bruno was thinking of the place, we never heard anything about that. But,
yeah, no, it doesn't seem like you said across the board at times. Shreyas, like they've spoke on dressing room standards and how it's different now. There's a leadership group which obviously has got Bruno as captain, Maguire, Dallo, which I don't understand, but it is what it is. Do you think there's got to be more of an element of players policing themselves rather than the manager sort of keeping everybody in line? Because it seemed like Ten Hag was very much like the headmaster trying to belittle everyone and get everybody in line. Whereas Fergie seemed to take, like Chivy said, he'd speak to certain players, but for the most part, like Keane would keep people in line, Neville, people like that would keep people on the straight and narrow and keep standards up. And it seems like that's what Amorim's trying to create within this dressing room. Do you think that works better in modern football, or do you still think there needs to be just one voice in the dressing room and that's the person who sort of like pulls everything together?
I think it differs from team to team, and it also differs in the sense who you've got as captain, what sort of a personality you've got as captain. So right now, if you look at Madrid, they've still got Carvajal, who is a leader, who's very vocal on the pitch, and he's got the trophy cabinet along with it to back that up. So even if someone new is coming in the door, if there is someone coming through from the academy, they know they can't really converse with him after a point. They need to listen to him. They need to understand what he wants from them on the pitch and off the pitch. So there's not going to be a lot of argument there. When you look at United at the moment, you've not. That is why I was really hesitant in selling Casemiro this window, because he's someone who people cannot really argue with after a point. He's won it all. He's done it at the biggest stages, and when it comes to the leadership and when it comes to experience, you've got no one who comes even close to him in this team. And Bruno has been at the club, but he's someone who leads you by performances. He's not someone who's going to, be like the profile you mentioned, Roy Keane. He's nowhere near to that mark as a captain.
He's too emotional for that.
Exactly. Yeah. He's someone who can lead you by performances. He can, when you're behind a game, he can just, help you get charged up, by going at players. But he's not someone who can, just, completely look into the team, whether it's other players coming in or young players coming in. It's different at United at the moment. You've not got those sort of profiles, because the players who've even been at the club for like 10 to 12 years, they've not really got enough in their locker to, demand that from the other players coming in. Whether you look at Luke Shaw.
Say his name. Yeah, Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
Well, Dallo's been there, what, 8 years? 7, 8 years?
Yeah.
But since Jose.
Yeah.
So you can just see, the type, like, you've got Sesko coming in now, you've got Mbumo, you've got Cunha, and you could argue they've got a whole lot more while coming into this club than, if you look at Diogo Dallo, than if you look at Luke Shaw, because the point that they are in at their careers and, with the type of responsibility that have been put on their shoulders, they are the ones who are, actually leading you into games. They are the ones who are actually, taking the pressure on games and actually, trying to actually change the result of the games when things are not going in your favor. So I think at United, you are at a loss when it comes to leaders. Still, I think Maguire is doing as much as he can, and I'm very happy with the way he's come back into the team. Casemiro and Bruno as well. But you need to have more players in there, especially with the type of profiles we've just mentioned, because after a point when you need to take that leap, you have to have those sort of profiles. And at United right now, we are at a loss for it. Maybe in 2 to 3 years time we can cultivate that sort of an environment, but at the moment it's quite tough, which is also one of the biggest reasons why most of the signings we make are sort of mess. Because when you don't have that sort of a leadership structure, it becomes difficult for other players who are coming into the team to actually adapt, to have that sort of comfort that even if we are not able to get things right, you've got players out there who can defend you. You've got players out there who can make life easy for you. At United, it has been more of the case that if a player is in 3 games, they don't score, they are public enemy number one, and there's no one to actually defend them. So it becomes quite difficult, which hasn't really helped our case.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, get your thoughts in the comments, and if you're watching this later or if you're in the chat, let us know how you feel. I'm gonna move on to like tactics and system, like identity and stuff. Initially, Chivy Amorim was very steadfast that he's not changing the system. He said the Pope couldn't even make me change it, even when we were getting absolutely battered like week after week after week. Initially, that was the way it was going, and we were all thinking he's not going to survive because this is just not going to work. He has tweaked little bits this season. We have seen little additions and little movements and stuff like that. However, he's still sticking with his philosophy and the way he wants to think. There's been reports of certain players not enjoying the system, other players do like it. How do you think a manager should approach things? Because obviously there's got to be a certain amount of managers like, this is the way I like to play and this is how I think. They can't go in with no plan. But at the same time, when you haven't got the players to do what it is you want to do, how should it work? Like, should the manager adapt to the squad that he has, or should he implement the system and then start bringing in the players to build what he wants to do? Because that's where Amorim seems to be stuck right now. He's brought in a couple of players that sort of work for the system, but then there's others who definitely don't work in the system. So he's kind of in a middle ground at this point. So yeah, what does he do? Because obviously he's got to stay in the job long enough in order to get those players in. But if he loses too many games, he's obviously gone. So like, what does the manager do?
It depends on his ultimate goal. Like if he wants to win, and if he wants to create like a sustainable style of football that can enable us to win trophies and qualify, then yeah, at some point, especially now where not all the players fit the system, he's going to have to adapt. If he doesn't, then he only has himself to blame. I know things have changed a little bit. I'm no football tactician, right?
No, none of us are. None of us are.
Yeah, I'm not a football tactician, but a lot of it has come down to the players that we've bought, as far as like Mbeumo and Cunha. Like they've massively improved our squad. Our biggest critics, but recently I've been really impressed with the way he's taken on that role, because this is the first time he's actually showing some sort of leadership or like sacrifice. It kind of reminds me of Rooney. Every time we had Rooney, but then we'd always have like a Cavani. We had Van Persie. Rooney always sacrificed his position for Van Nistelrooy. Rooney played on the left. He played in the 10. He played on the right. Sometimes he would even come deep and stuff like that. Well, so it was
just to interrupt you, Chivy. I think there was 3 years where I think Berbatov, I think Nistelrooy, and then somebody else, I can't remember what it was. They all won the Golden Boot in the Premier League, and they played next to Rooney.
And they played next to Rooney, exactly.
That's mad, isn't it? Like,
and Rooney was I've said this before. I remember when the year that Liverpool won the Champions League against AC Milan, when they came back. I can't remember what year that was, but we got knocked out of the Champions League by AC Milan. Now, leading up to that game, Nistelrooy was injured and Rooney was playing 9. And we were beating teams. And then just when we were about to play AC Milan, Van Nistelrooy comes back. And we lost both games. And you could see the difference. And I was like, this is because... And Rooney just sacrificed himself. Like he would play another position. So I say that to say, I like the way Bruno has kind of taken in this role. And I think him understanding the role and the synergy he's building with Casemiro is one of the reasons why were performing a little bit better as far as moving the ball forward. I don't think it's that much of a wholesale change that Amorim has made. And I think with some of the, because if you look at the stats, like we have, our expected goals are like we're ranking up there.
Yeah.
And I think that's also because of the players that we have with Rashford and Garnacho and players like that. Like we ain't going to do anything with those kind of players playing.
Selfish players.
Yeah. The point I'm trying to make is that this style of football is heavily reliant on the personnel, and it's not sustainable without the personnel. We've been saying this before. Shreyas even mentioned it earlier about you take one person out and then the whole thing falls.
Casemiro. It's like you take Casemiro out, that's it. So
you take him out, like it's a record now, and every time he goes out, that's what happens. So it's like I'm not fully sold. Like I've seen, I'm a big. I like to watch. What's his name? The Montpellier's James.
Yeah,
he's really good at analyzing stuff and all that, and he's also mentioned about the tactical improvements and all that, and I get it, but I just don't see. I rely on my eyes. I don't go with graphs and all that kind of stuff. I don't have time to go and analyze, I just watch the game, and from what I'm seeing, I don't really see that much of a difference. I may be wrong, but I just don't see that much. The only thing I see is that we have better personnel, and the players who've been here are starting to understand it. The problem with that is that I think it's going to take us longer to get to where we're going, because, like we mentioned, once one person is out of it, that's it. When Spurs equalized, Ugarte just couldn't chase his man. He chased the guy. He was just behind him all the time. He feeds it into Tel, and Tel scores. So I'm not overly impressed with how we play. We took the lead against Forest and lost it. We took the lead against Spurs and lost it. Yes, we did well to come back, but what's the guarantee that when we go against West Ham, when we go against, there's no guarantee that tells me that we're going to hold on to our leads. When we came back, it wasn't like a tactical thing that he changed and then we came back. Matthias de Ligt was just determined that he scored that. What's his name? Ahmad had a beautiful volley. It went in. There was nothing tactical about the return, about the comebacks, right? So that's where I'm a little bit worried. I'm happy. I can't complain. I'm happy that we're where we are. We're kind of close, but I just can't be. I'm too much of a realist to believe in the hype, if you see what I'm saying. So I really wish him the best, and I wish the team the best. But just based on what I'm seeing, there's nothing that really convinces me that we've turned the corner.
How do you feel, Shreyas? Like, obviously, we've seen some attacking patterns that look a lot better, mainly down, like Chivi said, to the personnel we recruited, Cunha and Mbumo, Šeško, Ahmad. That partnership with Mbumo looks like it's starting to perform well. Is this evidence that Amorim's idea is like starting to take shape, or are you still on the fence about it? Is it still a bit still inconsistent for you to be like, this is we're seeing progress here?
The biggest issue that I have with this is just that, you're not able to get Menu any game time at all. That is the biggest problem I have with the system, because I just know that you've got, a very, very gifted talent at such a young age, and he's barely getting 5 minutes a game, barely. And from my perspective as a manager, you need to do your best to get your best players on the field, and I just don't think that he's doing Menu any sort of justice. I think if you're not giving him many minutes, you're just hurting his potential. You're hurting his chances for next year's World Cup as well. And with the way things are shaping up, I think Menu will leave in the January window, I think, to another club, because I think as a player, even he would want some sort of security, that I get that I'm not a starter, but at least you need to give me, like 30-35 minutes a game. And those minutes are reserved for Ugarte. So, and, he's supposed to be competing with Bruno, but we all know Bruno is not going to be benched at all. Especially now with the way he's coming into this side, I just don't see him being dropped. So, I think he'll be leaving, but besides Menu, I think the team looks a lot better. I think he's definitely changed a couple of things, which I'm a bit glad about, because you've got a whole lot more passing options when you've got the ball in midfield. You've got Cunha and Mbumo, or Ahmad and Dorgu at times, position at the right areas, because whenever we are being pressured in midfield, Bruno has two places, and even Casemiro has two, outlet places where he can just, float the ball out wide, which actually helps us out a lot, because there's no way we would have been able to win midfield battles against Liverpool or against Arsenal or even against Brighton.
Goalkeeper as well. He can go long to like Sesko,
Exactly.
and Boomer and stuff.
The way we
actually that's true. The long ball.
Yeah. I think the way we countered Baliba and Ayari in that Brighton game was, very refreshing for me to see, because Bruno and Casemiro work quite well as a pairing in there. And I feel very confident when both of them are there, because I just know that, when it comes to midfield, it's not going to be as much of an issue for us. The problem is that opposition team also know that till Bruno and Casemiro are there, it's okay. 65th or 70th minute mark, Casemiro is going to go off. Ugarte or Minu are going to be coming on.
And then they can change.
Just pile the
pressure. You just wait, went off.
Just pile the pressure on at 60. When he goes, just pile the pressure on, and that's it.
Casemiro went against Spurs. Casemiro went off. I think Bentancur came on, and the moment that change happened, I just went, they're getting a goal for sure in this game, and that's what happened. In the game against Fulham as well, the moment Casemiro went off, it was Smith Rowe is coming on, Jimenez is coming on, and with the sort of players coming in, I could just figure out that what Marco Silva was going for, and he played it quite perfectly. I think we play our best when when you've got Casemiro and Bruno on the field, and before Casemiro goes up, you've got a 2-goal cushion. If you've not got that, and you've just got a 1-goal lead, you are in a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah, we saw that.
Can I just add something very? Can I just add something very quickly? Because just to add to the Kobe Mino thing. That for me is one of the sticking points with the manager. And what even scares me more is the talent that we have coming through from the academy. You've got Jim Thwaites, who is one hell of a midfielder. As far as the way he plays, like he's an intelligent midfielder. But I don't see him, I might be wrong, but I just see him playing in the system. The J.J. Abrams guy, who everyone's talking, J.J. Gabriel, sorry, who's supposed to be like a hot thing. I haven't watched him play, but then I'm not sure how any of them are going to fit into this system.
You think on that point, Chippy, you've got Shea Lacey, who's supposedly one of the brightest talents we have. He's a right-sided, left-footed, inside like 10. You got Mbumo plays there, like Mount could play there, Bruno could play there.
Yeah.
Ahmad could play there. When's he gonna get game time? When's he gonna get?
I don't know.
AFCON.
I don't know. AFCON maybe, or he can do a thing with if we need Mbumo to rest, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But then I'm just worried about the talent that's coming in from the academy, how they're going to fit in, because it could work for now with the way we play, but you guys know I've always been critical of I just hate the style. Like I just hate the way we play. I don't hate the manager. I just hate the way. I don't buy into his idea of football, because it's just literally one way to play and then that's it. And especially when even against Spurs, like Cass wasn't the best. He didn't even play really well on that day against Spurs.
No.
He distributed well a few times. But, when we have a situation like that where he's not playing, I don't understand why you can't find a way to adapt to, find something, find an answer to that.
Yeah, if you're taking him off, switch to a 3, put a midfield 3.
I don't know, just do something.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Just do something. Like that's the school of football that I come from. I hate these system managers. I can't stand them. I just have one way of playing. And then that's it. And it's almost as if, and I don't want to believe that he doesn't know how another way to play.
Oh, he definitely does.
I just don't want to.
He definitely does.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I just wanted to add that to what Shreyas was saying about the Kobe situation.
Yeah. And we'll move on to culture and standards and that sort of stuff as well. I'll put this one to Shreyas because obviously Chewy just spoke on Kobe and stuff. Yeah. The club's ownership and leadership are saying we've got to show patience. Amorim, obviously, Sir Jim Ratcliffe said it's 3 years. Whether you believe that or not, take it with a pinch of salt. We've had a decade of like false dawns and resets and all sorts of stuff. Do you think the fans have got any patience left, Shreyas? Like, do you think fans are just now on a hair trigger? Like, obviously the Grimsby game happened and fans were like, get him out, he's done. Is any patience left in the fans for this project for like the 3 years and waiting for the progress to happen?
I think for now, Amorim has got himself a very secure safety window now after the results that he's just had. I think that right now his position is quite untouchable. The last 5 games he's unbeaten. United, I think 8th or 9th on the table. So
damn, man. How far have we fallen, man?
Yeah, I think if
5
he
games.
would have lost,
it's five games. Why is that a big deal? Like, how far have we fallen? Anyway, sorry, Shreyas. I'm thinking out loud. Go on.
I think if he would have lost those games, I don't think that he would have been still in a job. I think if he lost, after that Brentford game, if he lost the next 2 as well, I think it's easy to say stuff, but with the way the fans would have come out, it would have been very difficult for Ineos to keep hold of Amorim. And not just Ineos to keep hold of Amorim, but Amorim himself to stay in the job. Because I think he honestly could have walked, with the way the situation was brewing at that time. Wouldn't have been surprised if he walked, if, those sort of results continued. What still gives me, positivity right now is after every single result, there is this one guy on Instagram who posts reels that the last time this happened, we managed to win the league.
Yeah, the one you keep sending into the group and getting excited about.
And the moment we drew against Spurs, just 5 minutes after that, he put the last time we drew 2-2 in North London, we managed to win the league. So with the way things are aligning, if he doesn't win the league right now, for me, he's dead. Sack him immediately if he doesn't win it this year around. But I think he's still, got himself a good secure window. What I'm still a bit alarmed about is the substitutions he makes at times. I think in a lot of take the Forest game and take both of these games, Spurs games as well. Xerxes could have proved a lot more effective in all of those games if he would have been brought on.
He don't fancy him, does he? Like he's not playing him, so he clearly doesn't.
Cunha was dead on his feet.
That's not good enough. Go on.
But that's what it is, isn't it? That's the reality.
And going at how the game was progressing, what we were missing out in both of those games was, as the game progressed, we need someone to play the ball through to Mbeumo. We need someone to hold the play. We just need someone to play this guy in. And Sesko wasn't really having a great game. Cunha wasn't really having a great game. Xerxes is not really going to hurt you as much if both of these guys, and Cunha was knackered. He wasn't really even able to. After a point, he wasn't effective at all, even in the press. So he needed to bring about a change. And I think when Mount came on, if Xerxes would have came on as well, we probably would have ended that Spurs game with a win. Because you just needed someone to play that last ball through at the right time. And we just, I just don't know why, but he doesn't really pick Xerxes at all now. And I think Xerxes could still work quite well in this system.
Yeah, it's a weird thing with Xerxes. I don't get what it is that he's just like, no, I'm not having him. Like it's an interesting thing. I'd love for journalists to ask like why he's not getting like Cobby's barely getting minutes, but Xerxes is getting nothing. Like he's getting none, like at all.
It would be, you know what? It would be different if Amorim came in at the start of the season and just went, you're not my player and everything.
Yeah.
But this is a guy who had big moments last season.
Yeah.
Like he struggled to get in the, we've been calling for him to play. Rasmus Højlund gets injured. He steps in. All of a sudden, everyone's like, this guy is a lot better. By the end of the season, it was the jury was out. It was like if you had to pick one, everybody would have gone for Xerxes because we saw what he did. Look at the game against Arsenal. There's so many other games that he had really big moments.
He's very good with the ball on his feet.
So he's played under, the manager has seen what he can do. So I still don't understand this whole thing. And anyway, I know Sam, sorry, I don't want to derail you.
No, it's all good. It's all good. But we can talk about, we can tangent and go on.
Yeah, so. because like, and this is probably one of the last times I'm going to say this because I'm tired of beating this horse all the time. What a lot of fans need to realize is that you don't always need a big, strong number 9, big, powerful. You just need somebody to bring balance. Cristiano Ronaldo and Gareth Bale, I can assure you, wouldn't have been as devastating as they were if Benzema wasn't there.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Benzema brought that balance. He stepped back, like I was saying with Rooney. Rooney did the same thing with Ronaldo and Tevez.
Liverpool as well. Like Firmino with Salah and Suarez.
Sometimes you need a player to allow the players around you to be brilliant. We have Cunha, we have Mbuemo, both of whom can be absolutely devastating if you have a player to bring that balance between both of them, to allow them to be the stars. And then he can just be the provider or whatever it is. You don't always need that. Like if you had Ronaldo and Gareth Bale at Real Madrid, you think if they put Lewandowski there, as bad as he is, as good as Lewandowski is, you wouldn't get that sort of thing because they will occupy the same spaces. Yeah. They would all be going for goals.
And Lewandowski would be like, "Why are you not giving me the ball?" Like
you see what I'm saying? Yeah. You get someone like what's his name, like Shevchenko when he was crazy. You put a player like this, you're not going to do it with Ibrahimovic. No, it's not going to work. You need a player to bring balance, and I'm upset that I know this, or like that, a lot of people can see this, and the manager just doesn't seem to think. And then guess what's going to happen? I don't know how long Sesko's injury is, but say Xerxes gets his chance now and he starts performing, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh, why did he play the whole time?" Like, he always has to fight for his place. Like, everyone gets a free run apart from him. Rasmus Højlund played himself into injury and into bad form. Xerxes didn't get a sniff. Then when he did, he proved himself. And same thing with Sesko now. He had a really bad game against Spurs. And we just didn't see any of it. But I think this is probably...
He had a bad game against Forest as well, to be fair. Yeah. And then he still got brought on instead of Xerxes. Like,
he's not a terrible player. Sometimes he just doesn't fit the style of opposition that we have. If you're going to play a team that sits back, you don't need Sesko in there. If you're trying to unlock a team that's defending,
you need to drag him out, don't you? You need to pull him out.
You need somebody.
Sesko's going to want to get in behind. Like, it's just,
if there's no space, he's useless. But you need a player like Xerxes to unlock those kind of defenses and stuff. But that's just how I feel about the situation. Sorry, I went off on a bit of a tangent.
No, all good. It's all good, man. We're here to give our opinion and stuff. That final sort of questions. We could both of you can touch this, but we'll go to you first, Jerry. Is identity more important than league position for United at the minute? And how long does patience last, like, before it becomes an excuse to sort of, like, in your use, like, to go, it just excuse any sort of form or any sort of result?
The identity argument has always been, I've never agreed with it. It's always just been something to argue about. Before we got Amorim, when Ten Hag was there, everybody was complaining, what's Man United's identity? This was a big talking point on like Sky Sports, and everybody was going, what's identity?
What's their style of play? That was the thing.
Well, our identity is finishing 15th with a style of play.
United's identity used to be winning shit. That was our identity. Yeah. We just used to win.
I'm telling you, right, we have an identity now, and everybody knows this identity. Mm-hmm. Like, everyone knows it. Like, but what has that done? Like, that hasn't given us anything. Like, you have to get, so you have to get, like, you have to be a winner. You have to find ways to win. That's why Josie was as successful as he was, and Fergie. And Fergie always tweaked it. He always got a new player, and then he would tweak it. Sometimes Scholes used to play second striker. Then Scholes would play the 6. Then he would play the 10. Nicky Butt would play the 8. Like, he would just, he kept things fluid. I don't put too much stock in identity if it's not really giving you anything. Like, there has to be give and take. There's no point having an identity, but it, just resulting in you just losing games. I would rather prefer league position.
So would you take Jose in a very pragmatic style, not very exciting to watch, but we come top 4 and we win a trophy? You take that?
I'll take anyone who's a winner. I'll take anyone. I don't like, and I just need to say this, I don't hate the manager. I just hate the way. No. I'll take Keith Andrews. Is his name Keith Andrews?
Yeah.
Bournemouth.
Yeah. Brentford.
Yeah, Brentford. Sorry. Yeah, I would take a manager who knows how to get the best out of his players, even if that means not having a clear identity.
Well, even if it's boring, even if it's not entertaining, and you just.
Here's a news flash for everyone who doesn't know, and people like us, like for Shreyas and people who are from like from this generation. At no point did we play any more exciting football than Arsenal when Arsene Wenger was there. Arsene Wenger played the best football.
Oh yeah,
one of the best football I've ever seen.
Liquid football.
But guess what? Who was winning all the trophies? Fergie. So something you can play the best style of football. If you don't win, it doesn't mean shit. Yeah. Like those triangles that Wenger was using was crazy. I know we've seen Pep and we've seen Klopp. That Arsenal era of Pires, of Fabregas, when these, oh my god,
Henry, like Fergie, Vieira,
yeah. We used to play boring football. There were lots of times when we played boring football, we'd go and win one, beat Fulham 1-0, West Brom 2-1. It's those kind of points that won us the league a lot of time. We weren't always flying. We were not always flying. It got boring after a while, to be honest. So yeah, that's my answer to
that. Shreyas, what's the minimum progress that we need to see this season? Like, where are you at? Like, what do we need to see this season for you to go, Amorim's progressed this team and he deserves more time?
I don't know about more time. I don't think he's going to finish 15th again. So he's progressed definitely. But what I do want to see is that, through the course of the season, we don't become like a 60 or 70 minute mark team that they're going to make changes and they're going to completely fall off, because it feels like we first used to be this 20-minute mark team. That first 20 minutes United will dominate, you score, they're just going to be trying to get an equalizer for the rest of the game. We somehow gotten that from 20 to 70, but we need, if we genuinely want to close down the gap to teams like even you have to count Sunderland in there now. I know that Villa have definitely come back into the season quite well, so they're going to be there.
Back to Bournemouth for the weekend, 4-0.
Yeah,
so they're above us now, aren't they?
Yeah.
And between second and ninth position, pretty much, there's only like a 2 or 3 point gap. So if you honestly want to, close the gap down and you want to stay in those positions, you need to get some sort of consistency with your decision making mid games, with the type of players you choose. You choose against certain oppositions.
Conceding goals as well.
Yeah, you cannot be asleep. Yeah. So you need to be, at least be good enough to avoid preventable goals. Like certain goals I get that, you cannot really do much about it. But we've conceded around 18 goals this season. I can say that at least 10 of them were avoidable. At least 10 of them were. And 10 goals is a big, it is genuinely a big margin. If you look at this type of results we've had, we've drawn or lost, it makes up at least 10 to 15 points if you have to look at it from the perspective of a 38 game season. So we definitely need to get our act together, and the January window is going to be very important for us, because I know that with the squad that we've got and we don't make any additions at all, I don't think we make top 6. I think it's going to be very difficult. I think right now it is still a bit easier for us because it's still early days. But I think as the season carries on, other teams are definitely going to get more into groove. It's going to be difficult for us to maintain our position. And with the way we sort of drop points, these draws, it is going to hurt us in time. Right now it's not as much, but in with time it might. So if we are able to get someone in through the door, maybe we can get there, but I think it is still quite early to make that call, because you never know. Sunderland can just completely drop off back to 13th or 14th, within like 3 to 4 match weeks. So this table is still going to shuffle a lot more. Maybe one of the traditional top 4 who make the top 4 every season on a consistent basis, maybe some of them fall off, but I think United do still have got a very good opportunity to get into the top 6. But it just depends as to how even Amorim goes about this season. I think he's gotten some good international break time to look into this team and understand where we are falling behind. If he can get it together, if Bruno didn't miss 2 penalties and we managed to get those results in, we would still be in like third or second position with a good gap. So you just don't know. This season is quite interesting that way. 2 wins, you are in the top two. 2 losses, you're down to 15th, 16th.
There's a lesson there, kids. Don't look at the table mid-match because it's just it's not going to do you any good. Not going to do it. There's a final question in one-word answer I'm going to ask you just before I go. I'm just going to read a couple of comments. Pat May, even lads, to be honest, I don't think we've had another manager who's had to deal with the amount of shit regarding players, media pressure, and in time he will get it right. Dan Raj in the chat, shout out to Dan. That Instagram person is Shreyas himself. He's calling you out, Shreyas. He's saying you're the guy behind the account. Dan Raj, we can't win a game with the late... what did he say? Sorry. We can't win a game with 1-0. The last time it happened, I think, was in January. Yeah, 1-0 is the worst score for us. It's fucking terrifying to watch that. So, yeah, I don't want to see that anymore. Right, final question, and we'll get out of here. If United don't get European football at the end of the season, Shreyas, one word, does Ruben Amorim stay or does he go?
He stays.
He stays. Jimmy?
Are you asking like if it's up to me, or are you asking what do I think will happen?
No, what you would do, like if you were in charge, if he doesn't get European football, should he stay or should he go?
No, he'll go. European football, that's Conference League, Europa League, all that kind of
For me, he goes. He won't go.
Yeah, for me personally, he'd go. I'd let him go. Yeah.
There we go. Let us know in the comments if you think if we don't get European football this season, if you think Amorim should stay or go. There was a poll in the chat that I put regarding, are you fully behind Amorim? Are you still unsure on him, or is he not the manager for you? 69% of you have said that you are fully behind him. 31% of you have said still unsure. Nobody has said he's not the one. So there you go. It's quite a majority positive. Thank you, lads, for joining us. Thank you, everybody in the chat. Thank you to people who've been watching. We're on 29,861 subscribers, so we're not that far away from 30K, which is amazing. We have got Steve Railston from the MEN coming on Thursday, so please do watch out. That'd be a really cool interview. We'll probably be back tomorrow. I've got another interview possibly next week. I will let you guys know what that is. Keep an eye on the Instagram, the X, the TikTok, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.